The sun dipped low behind the hills, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose. At the edge of a quiet park stood an ancient oak tree, its branches heavy with secrets of time. Beneath it sat Daniel, sketchbook in hand, though his pencil had not moved for hours. His dreams of becoming an artist had faded, just like the twilight before him. Across the path walked Alara, clutching a worn-out journal. She paused, her eyes tracing the carvings on the tree's bark. Names, hearts, dates of forgotten lovers. For some reason, she sat across from Daniel. Two broken souls meeting under one silent witness of time. Daniel glanced up, surprised to see someone sitting nearby. Alara smiled politely, opening her journal, but not writing a word. Silence stretched between them, the kind of silence that felt expectant, like the world was holding its breath. Finally, she asked, "Do you come here often?" Her voice was soft, hesitant. Daniel chuckled faintly. "Every day," he replied. "Not much to show for it, though." He tapped the blank pages of his sketchbook. Ilara tilted her head, curious. "Maybe that's okay," she whispered. "Sometimes silence says more than words, or sketches." And for the first time in a long while, Daniel felt the weight on his chest begin to lift. The wind rustled softly through the oak's branches, sending golden leaves dancing around them. Daniel found himself stealing glances at Alara, noticing the way her fingers lingered on the worn edges of her journal, as if every page carried a memory she was afraid to lose. "What do you write?" he asked at last. His voice was low, careful, as though afraid to break the fragile calm between them. Ilara's eyes flickered toward him, then back to her journal. "Dreams," she whispered, "the kind I never had the courage to chase." Daniel's lips curved into a faint smile. "Funny," he murmured, tapping his empty sketchbook. "I gave up on mine." Their eyes met, just for a heartbeat, but long enough for something unspoken to spark in the silence. Under the old oak tree, two wounded hearts began to find a rhythm that felt like the beginning of a song. Ilara closed her journal and hugged it to her chest. "So," she teased, glancing at Daniel's sketchbook, "are you one of those mysterious artists who hides his masterpieces from the world?" Daniel laughed, the sound surprising even himself. "If by masterpiece you mean blank pages, then yes, I'm one of the best." Her laughter bubbled out, light and musical, drifting through the air like a melody. Daniel couldn't help but smile wider. For the first time in months, his chest didn't feel so heavy. "Maybe you're just waiting for the right inspiration," she said playfully, tilting her head as if hinting at something. He raised an eyebrow. "And what about you? Filling journals with dreams you'll never chase?" Ilara gave him a mock glare, then smirked. "Touché." They both burst into laughter, the kind that made strangers feel less like strangers and more like old friends rediscovering each other. The oak tree swayed gently above them, as if approving the growing bond between two souls learning to laugh again. The last streaks of sunset bled into violet, and the park grew quieter. Daniel leaned back against the oak tree, stealing another glance at Alara. She caught him this time, and her lips curved into a mischievous smile. "You stare a lot," she teased, raising an eyebrow. Daniel's face flushed, and he quickly looked away, pretending to study his sketchbook. "I wasn't staring," he muttered. "I was, observing." "Observing?" she laughed. "Sounds suspiciously like staring to me." She tapped her journal against her knee. "Maybe you should just admit I'm your inspiration." Daniel smirked, finally meeting her gaze. "Fine," he said playfully, "but only if you admit you came here hoping someone would notice you." Ilara gasped in mock offense, her laughter spilling out seconds later. "Touché again," she said, shaking her head. Their banter danced between them like sparks in the twilight, light, teasing, and effortless. And though the air was filled with laughter, beneath it lingered something unspoken, a pull, gentle but undeniable, drawing them closer with each playful word. The laughter softened, fading into the gentle hum of the evening. Crickets sang in the grass, and the first stars pricked through the sky. Ilara rested her journal on her lap, tracing its cover with her fingertips. Her smile lingered, but there was something in her eyes now, something heavier. "You know," she said softly, "I wasn't always this light. I write because it's the only place I can be honest. The world doesn't always care about honesty." Daniel's expression shifted. He closed his sketchbook slowly, as though setting down more than just paper. I know what you mean, he murmured. I used to draw everything. People, places, dreams. But somewhere along the way, life told me I wasn't good enough. I stopped before the world could laugh at me. Alara looked at him, her voice barely above a whisper. Funny. I write my dreams down so the world won't laugh at me too. Their eyes met. No teasing this time, no playful spark. Just two truths, raw and vulnerable, shared under the watchful branches of the oak. And in that silence, something fragile but powerful took root between them. The night settled more fully around them, wrapping the park in quiet. A lamp flickered in the distance, casting a faint glow over the old oak's roots. Daniel leaned forward, elbows on his knees, his voice low. I wasn't just afraid of being laughed at, he admitted. I was in love once. She said she believed in me, in my art. But when things got hard, she left. Said dreams don't pay bills. After that, every time I picked up a pencil, I could hear her voice telling me it was a waste of time. Ilara's heart tightened. She closed her journal and pressed it against her chest. For a moment, she didn't speak. Then with a breath, she whispered, I know what it's like to be left behind. Her voice trembled. I poured everything into someone once. All my dreams, all my words. Only to realize they never saw me the way I saw them. When they walked away, it felt like they'd stolen parts of me I'll never get back. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was heavy, sacred. Their stories hung between them like fragile glass, delicate and breakable, but honest. For the first time, neither felt so alone in their wounds. Daniel's eyes softened as he looked at her. I guess, he said quietly, we're both learning how to start again. The words lingered in the night air, their hearts laid bare beneath the oak. For a long moment, neither spoke, but the silence wasn't empty. It was full of understanding, full of something deeper taking root. Ilara's hands trembled slightly as she lowered her journal to the ground. Without thinking, Daniel reached out, his fingers brushing lightly against hers. The touch was small, almost accidental, but it carried the weight of a promise neither dared to voice yet. She didn't pull away. Instead, she let her hand rest against his, the warmth spreading through her chest like a fragile flame. Daniel shifted closer, leaning back against the oak trunk, and Ilara followed, their shoulders brushing. It wasn't grand, it wasn't loud, but it was real. Two souls finding shelter in each other's presence. Above them, the branches swayed gently, as if the old tree had seen this before, and approved. The world around them faded into whispers of leaves and the steady beat of two hearts slowly finding their rhythm together. The night had deepened, yet neither of them moved away. Their hands lingered, warm and steady, their shoulders pressed close beneath the sheltering oak. It felt as if the world had shrunk to just this, two people, a tree, and the fragile space between breaths. Daniel turned, his gaze catching hers. In the soft lamplight, Ilara's eyes glistened like starlight caught in water. He swallowed, his voice breaking the silence, low and rough with honesty. Ilara, I don't know how to say this without ruining it, but being here with you feels different. It feels right. For the first time in years, I don't feel like I'm pretending to be okay. With you, I just am. Her lips parted, trembling slightly. The journal lay forgotten at their side, and for once words failed her. Instead, she whispered, barely audible, Daniel, I've been so afraid to open up again, afraid of being too much or not enough. But with you, I don't feel broken. I feel seen. The air thickened with unspoken longing. Slowly, cautiously, Daniel lifted a hand and brushed a loose strand of hair from her face, his fingers lingering just long enough to make her heart race. She leaned into the touch, her eyes never leaving his. Then let's not run from it, he breathed. Let's see where this takes us. And in that quiet, tender moment, their foreheads touched, a promise of something more, fragile yet powerful, like the first spark of fire that could change everything. The world seemed to pause as they stayed there, foreheads pressed together, breaths mingling in the quiet night. The oak tree, ancient and unshaken, stood watch like a silent witness to a new beginning. Ilara was the first to pull back slightly. though her hand stayed in his. Her eyes softened as she whispered, "Maybe we don't have to figure everything out tonight. Maybe it's enough that we're here." Daniel smiled faintly, the kind of smile born not from certainty, but from hope. "Then let's promise each other something," he said gently, "that no matter what comes, we won't run. Not from this, not from us." She squeezed his hand, the faintest shimmer of tears glistening in her eyes. Not from sadness, but from relief. "I promise," she breathed, and in those two words something shifted. It wasn't just comfort anymore. It was trust. It was a fragile but unbreakable bond beginning to form. Above them, the stars blinked softly, scattered across the velvet sky. The lamplight hummed quietly. The breeze carried the scent of earth and leaves, and for the first time in a long time, they both felt like they were exactly where they were meant to be. The oak tree swayed gently as though nodding in approval, and beneath its branches, two souls once broken found the courage to hope again.